Okay guys, time for a real quick garden update. Here we've got the okra, cantaloupe, watermelon, and some butter crunch lettuce that actually seeded. I'm going to try to get those guys in the ground today, maybe tomorrow. The collards, I've just been letting go. I haven't been trying to fight the bugs. I've just been feeding them to the rabbits. The bell pepper never did anything. I'm probably going to yank it and replace it with the okra. The squash finally started making some squash. Got one there, got one in there. What I did was added a little bit more rabbit manure, and I started watering them a little bit more than everything else. The banana pepper hasn't done anything yet. The cayenne pepper is absolutely going nuts. It's making more peppers than we can eat. It's crazy. The potatoes still doing their thing, still growing. I don't know what's going on. I guess they just don't want to die. But I should be flipping them and counting potatoes here in about 2 weeks, so we will see. The tomatoes. All right, here's the hydroponic ones. This is the Big Zack, and they are notoriously hard, at least for me, to get them to make a tomato. They grow very well. It's just getting the nutrients right to get them to make a tomato. This plant, plenty of buds, plenty of flowers. You can see there's wind blowing. They're getting fertilized. They're just not producing anything. This is the one that I almost killed, that I brought back to life. It's got a couple of tomatoes on it. This one here is doing awesome. I've got tomatoes all over the place on this one. This is all hydroponics. Now the soil with the rabbit manure. This is the Big Zack. This is one that's really, really hard. I've actually only got one. I've only successfully got one tomato off of these, and that was 2 seasons ago. I'm excited. This one actually has a tomato. Can you see it? It's a little itty bitty one, but it is there. There it is. So it's awesome. I'm gonna baby this and see how it works. This plant here, the Cherokee Purple in the soil, is doing awesome. Got quite a few tomatoes on it. All right, this is the one, the experiment. The one that I decided to water with the hydroponic nutrients, and it has exploded. It is quite a bit taller than the rest. It is a full shade darker in green than the others, and it's producing multiple tomatoes on each node. So it's super thick, looks super healthy. So I believe I'm going to continue on using hydroponic nutrients on this one, and probably find a way to use them in the soil from now on. I mean, it just makes more sense to me to do it that way than just to do it with the water. Because let me tell you something, this is a great idea, these little things, but they don't freaking work. I mean, this one's already fell down inside. They can't support the weight of the tomato plant. If it was just a head of lettuce or something like that, it would probably be fine. But after a while, the squishiness goes away, and they don't just support anything. So never using those again. I'll use net cups, I'll use solo cups, or I'm probably just going to continue to do the soil and use the hydroponic nutrients to water the soil once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month. I'll just have to figure it out. Okay, on to the rabbits. Exciting news. Okay, let's see. Let's start with Tribe. He's doing good. He's handling the heat real well. No complaints from him. I moved the 2 creamed Argents into their own cage. This was the cage that the buck was in that I gave to Native last week. So the 2 creams have their own cage. Look at the color on those things. Are you nuts? Look at him or her. Those are just awesome babies. So they have their own cage. They're as sweet as they can be. This is my other buck, my backup. He's doing good. This is Backwoods. He's just chilling. All right, I'll skip over Mama for now. This is my white doe. She's doing good. This is Milkmaid. These are my other 2 does. They're kind of weird, as you can see. They're just chilling. This is where the 2 creamed Argents were, but they're getting big, so they needed their own cage, so I spread them out. Now, for the mom, Za. All right, here's my concern. I've heard from a lot of people you're not supposed to breed in the summertime because the heat is really, really bad for the rabbits unless you can find a way to keep them cool. I was just so excited that she was old enough to breed. I bred her in July. Here it is. I bred her in June. Here it is, the middle of July. It's supposed to be in the 90s today. So I've been up since 6 a.m. this morning trying to figure a way to keep this rabbit cool and to keep the babies cool. So I'm going to share an idea with the entire YouTube world. This is something that I pulled straight out of my brain. and I want to show you that it's working. And anybody out there, feel free to do it yourself. If you don't want to do it, you can email me. I'll build it for you and mail it to you. I may even have to start a business doing this, but it was a really good idea. It came to me, and I drew it up on paper, and then I went and got the stuff. I just happened to have the stuff, and I made it myself. And it seems to be working pretty good. She hasn't figured out how to use it yet, but she will. But as you can see, she's made a massive nest. I mean, she just, a condo. She's dealing with the heat really well. No complaints from her. And she's panting, but she's doing pretty good. But here's my experiment. Instead of just having the towel for them to lay on to cool off and doing the frozen bottle waters or water bottles, what I did, as you can see here, I took styrofoam, okay, and I made a box, 1/2-inch styrofoam, about 4 inches high. And it's styrofoam on the bottom, styrofoam on all 4 sides. The top, it has no top. Another ceramic tile is the top, okay? So the styrofoam does not absorb cold air or hot air or anything like that. It's insulated. So the only place for the cold air to go is up into this tile, is what I'm hoping. I put a 1 gallon frozen, 1 gallon storage bag. I froze it, made ice out of it, and it lays down in here perfectly. And then I lay the towel on top, and it is so much colder than a normal tile. This thing, I wish I had a thermometer on here, but it is nice and cool. And she hasn't figured it out yet, but she will. It's nice and cool. What I'm also going to do is in the bottom, here in the front, right above where the babies are, I'm going to cut a square of the styrofoam out so the cold air can go down and permeate into the nest to keep them nice and cool. But that's my plans. But as you can see, Za's doing really good. She just needs to figure out that this is nice and cool up here. I don't want to pick her up and put her there because I don't want to freak her out, but she'll figure it out. She's smart. But if anybody wants the designs on this, I may actually do a video and make more, one for each of the cages when I really can say this is a success, but I can't see how it wouldn't be. And you notice I wrapped it in wire so the bunnies can't get to the styrofoam. I grinded down all the sharp edges so they can't get to it. And I have a little lip here where the tile just snaps in so it's nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. But that is my invention. I don't know what you call it, the rabbit cooler or whatever. But before I was just putting frozen water bottles in here, and they were thawed out and gone, and the rabbits chew through it and water sprays everywhere, and it's a waste of time. But this way, what I'm figuring is I can put 1, even 2 1-gallon Ziploc bags frozen solid overnight and lay them in there. And by my calculations, them being in a 1/2-inch cooler, pretty much styrofoam, and it's in the shade 24/7, that thing should stay cold, ice cold, all day long throughout the heat of the summer. And the cool part is, I'm pretty sure that the moisture here with the air blowing through is going to make condensation. This is going to get like a little bit of water on top, which will really help with the evaporation and the cooling the rabbits down. So that is my invention. I wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully it works. Keep your fingers crossed. Za, today is by my math, today is day 30. So she should be pulling hair and having babies tonight, tomorrow, the next day at the latest. If she doesn't, then that means I had a false pregnancy and she had a false pregnancy. I mean, she went through the building of the nest and everything. And honestly, I wouldn't be upset if it is a false pregnancy, simply because the heat, I mean, it's supposed to be right at 100 for the next 4 or 5 days, and that's the worst time for the babies. Granted, they're born with no fur, but that heat just might be too much for them. And the only other option is to bring them inside, or bring her inside and let her give birth inside, but that's going to be traumatic. So, I mean, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's going to be a traumatic event either way. And if I bring her inside to the basement where it's, in the high 60s, low 70s, and then I have to transition her and the babies back outside to where it's 80s and 90s, that's going to be a shock. So it's kind of like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. That's why I wanted to get this this cooling platform made, that hopefully that will help a lot. And if she does have the babies tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to I'll bring a fan out here and put it on them if I have to. Hell, I'll bring an air conditioner. I've got my solar generator and a 5,000 BTU air conditioner. I'll set that air conditioner right here in front of this cage, and I'll air condition the whole thing if I got to, if she has the babies. I'll do what I can to keep them alive and make sure they're healthy. If she doesn't, it's kind of disappointing in a way, but honestly, it's almost like a sigh of relief because I can wait a little while longer and breed her when it's not the heat of the year, because this is her first litter, so it's going to suck. I don't want her to have to go through like traumatically losing her first litter or anything like that if she is pregnant. But you can see the size of her versus him. I mean, she looks pregnant. I don't know. We will see. Stay tuned for more updates. Wish y'all luck, and wish me luck on my yet to be patented rabbit cooling platform thingamabob. We'll see what happens. That was version 1.0. I made it as fast as possible to get it out here today to kind of knock down some of this heat. I may get a little bit more technical with it, and really I may even use spray foam and just build the box and do spray foam inside it to really insulate it good and do it with the tiles. I've even considered getting a little pond fish pump and making a platform out of copper tubing and just pumping ice cold water through it 24/7. I'll figure something one way or the other. I'm gonna keep my rabbits cool. You can believe that. That's a fact. All right, guys, that's it for today. Please like, share, subscribe. Oh, and I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in last night to the show, the Prepper Summit. I think it went really well. Unfortunately, Angry Prepper could not make it. Right before the show started, he emailed me that he got called into work and he had to work a shift. And then right before we went live, he had a call. So he was actually out on a call fighting a fire during our show. He did email and apologize, and hopefully we're going to reschedule and get it done right. But, I got to give credit where credit's due. Lynn with Homestead Oz, she rocked it. Almost 2 hours we were online, and we had an awesome crowd. One of the best I've ever had, with some great questions. So the feedback was awesome. So I'm looking forward to doing another session. So if you guys like, share, subscribe, stay tuned, and we'll talk to you later.